I hope it's recording. I envy your cup. That's me over there. That's the last matchmaking gathering in Utah. So Hunt, I believe we will
I got
do
this as a Secret Santa gift.
It's very cute. I think it will be a Christmas gift for Diolli.com subscribers, because so often they tell that at our channel we have just female perspective and they miss having the male perspective. So today we will present them the male perspective from a real dating coach, male dating coach. Can you tell a little bit about yourself, whom you coach, where you are located, for how long you are doing it?
Yeah, I'll try to condense it. So I got started on this about 14, 15 years ago. My therapist actually started me on this. I was going to her for various and sundries at those days. And she said, the men that come in are broken and I can fix them. But the thing that they want the most is to have a woman by their side. And I can't give them that. You know more about this than anybody I've ever met. You need to figure out a way to monetize this. And the minute you do, I will refer all of my patients to you. So that's, hearing such 3 resounding pats on the back from a female psychotherapist. That's at least what started the journey, started the research. Is there a need? Do I know more? Is this something that can be taught? How do you break it down? Is this an art, a science, a skill, et cetera, et cetera? So I started my own company called Hunt for Advice, which is still my company now. I did that for about 2 years. And then I joined New York Dating Coach, which is, I think, where we were originally introduced, where I became their head coach at a firm in New York City. At that point, we started one company called International Dating Coach Association to teach and certify dating coaches across the world, to which you were one of our very first people that we got to
I think I have the badge somewhere over there.
I saw it, and I saw it on your website too, that you have our logo still. I was like, yes. Since then, I have my own private practice, which I still have all my clients. I'm also the coach on record for about a dozen different matchmaking firms, and the top ones in all of North America and some in other countries as well too. I consult with online dating companies. I am the board of directors on another online dating company, hundreds and hundreds of dating articles, and just launching our newest company, the Matchmaking Business Academy, with my business partner, Carmelia Ray. And we are getting back into the coaching space so that we can. Thank you. Yes, I know we talked about it a year ago. I thought it was going to be sooner than this, but this last year was a little bit crazy. So I'm glad we're finally able to offer that up now. What a heck of a time to do that. I mean, we basically want to create more people that can teach more people how to find love. And this is going to be a year that we're going to need it. The 2021 is going to be the year of the matchmaker and the love coach, because I think all of us are going to need a little bit more help than normal. So
people think it's a very easy profession. It's not. And just for the record, I want to add that you are happily married and you have 2 beautiful daughters, and you're kind of in the international marriage.
Yes, I do.
And your wife, she's originally from where?
She was born in Puerto Rico. English is her second language. And well, my father was an exchange student when he was young, and my grandmother, I think, had somewhere between 40 and 50 foster kids, including her own kids, and exchange students, and like just no one really has a count of how many kids came through her house. So international and hosting has always been part of my life. And after I graduated high school, I myself became an exchange student. And I lived in France for a year before college. Got to do more traveling there. So I've had the lucky ability to have been to about 2 dozen different countries myself, depending on principalities or municipalities and stuff. And living in New York City is arguably the crossroads of the world, where every culture and every walk of life comes here. So I love that. I always enjoyed mysterious, different, unique things in my life that also tended towards women as well. But finding someone that have obviously just had my likes and desires, but that could bring another culture to the table. Because if I married someone of my own culture, I kind of know everything about their culture, how they grew up, their values, everything like that, even physically played the places that they've been or grew up. So I feel like having a whole new country that you can bring into your family is amazing. Because now my daughters can trace their ancestry back to the Taino natives of the Caribbean, as well as the founders of the United States. So it's one of the things that finds interesting is that our daughters have bloods of the conqueror and the conquered in them, which a lot of people do. That's in different countries at different times. But and as you know, I think mixed babies are gorgeous.
The cutest. I agree with you. So let's return to coaching. You have mentioned to me last time when we were talking, and I will leave the link to the interview we have done with you already. You have told me that you teach women how to be more approachable and you teach men how to approach. So can you speak about both a little bit?
Sure. So, and obviously I would have to make a lot of overgeneralizations and simplifications, and there's always exceptions to the rule. We're just going to try to get the most bang for the buck. So yes, in its simplest form, usually I have to teach my men how to approach. They have approach anxiety. They're scared to go up and talk to people, but you have to also understand that any man worth his salt a little bit has been rejected dozens, hundreds, or thousands of times in his life, because we have to take chances. We have to be the ones, for the most part, that do the approaching. So after a while, for some people, it can get exhausting and tiring and defeating, and it's difficult, and you don't want to do it, and you imagine the worst. Or for instance, I had one guy that was really sportive, really tall, successful, good looking, and I'm kind of like, what are you doing here? When he was in high school, he played football, so he never had to find girls. And then when he was in college, he was in a fraternity, and the girls just came over. So when he got out into the real world, he never actually learned how to go get himself a girl. So it's interesting to see what people miss and don't miss in their lives. Now, when it comes to women, traditionally, especially in Ukrainian
can you share some tips
culture,
that you have given to that guy? I will interrupt you because you are missing the most interesting part. So the quarterback guy.
Yes, yeah. So for instance, a lot of it is simple stuff. Like men, arguably, I won't say we're simpler, but we just go with how we feel without overthinking it a lot or at all sometimes. So if you see something you like, our energy faces that what we like. So if we see someone we want to talk to, hi, how you doing? And then, whoa, that's a lot of energy coming at you, real quickly. But the guy doesn't know any better. He just sees something he likes. Whereas just something as you come up to them, just even at a 45-degree angle, and be next to them and kind of speak over your shoulder to them. Hey, how are you? It's good to see you. That way, all of your energy isn't focused directly on that, which can accidentally blow people back. For both men and women, we ask the most logical, boring questions most of the time. What do you do? Where are you from? What do you like to do? Did you go to school? These are all logical questions that don't lead us to any sort of emotional exchange. So we need to ask emotional questions like, what are you looking forward to the most this weekend? What was your proudest moment at work? What was your favorite meal? These bring up positive memories, positive emotions, which can start that chemistry going back and forth. Another thing for guys is, so life is pain versus pleasure. We move away from that which is painful, we move towards that which is pleasurable. It's fine. But we gotta flip the script sometimes. So I would see some guys go up and talk to a girl, and they hadn't had a lot of practice talking to girls or many times, so they were just so excited to be talking and hanging out. And you could just see the energy just go boom. Basically, they just drove it into the ground because they had something pleasurable and they didn't want to leave it. I understand. Why would we? But they kept saying that they drove out all the energy. The conversation became boring, and the woman just didn't want to be there anymore. So if they had talked for a little bit and said, hey, I have to go somewhere. Can I get your number? Let me see you again another time. They could have kept that energy high and led the woman to want to see him again, as a
To
couple
anticipate.
examples.
Mm-hmm. And you have started talking, before I rudely interrupt you, about Ukrainian women, but I
No, we
really
got to
wanted
interrupt each
to
other so
hear
we can both
all
talk
the
about it.
tips about the quarterback guy. So you have managed to work with some Ukrainian women that have relocated to New York and live in the United States. So pretty much the American women with Ukrainian background. Are they any different from American women that are second, third generations American? Do you see the difference in their dating
Yes, they
attitude?
are. Yes, they are. The one that I find with my Ukrainian ladies that is the most different than a lot of the other ones is the really defined traditional gender roles, specifically that the man, not just more money, but a lot more money than the woman. The problem with this is a lot of those people that relocate are vice presidents, CEOs, managing directors, high salaries. And so one, just statistically in business, there just aren't as many people above them. And many of those people are married or otherwise occupied. And they see it as a matter of the dollar sign is the matter of the person's success. And because I can understand it's a way to understand it. While I try to explain, well, obviously I don't want a man to leech off you or you to take care of a man. If you earn $250,000 a year, a man that earns $125,000 a year is a totally viable solution. He may not be at your level, but he still understands passion, drive, sacrifice, the reason to get there. He may have more time to spend on the relationship. But this is a struggle that I find with specifically the Ukrainian women, that they will it's just not even on the table to look down, to date down. So it creates its own set of tensions because we have to, so there's doing nothing and there's changing everything. And those are the polar ends of it. And you don't want to usually do either of them, but we have to figure out where within it we are comfortable making those changes or compromises. Other people have really strong things that they just won't compromise on other aspects of it. Like as you and I know, sometimes you'll get the 5'3" woman that will just needs a 6-foot guy. And you're like, you do not need a 6-foot guy if you're 5'3", but she won't budge. And you're like, okay.
I like
So
my
I
high
tell them
heels.
that, yeah, totally. It's okay but like, explore and be comfortable, at least explore other options. That's all I'm kind of saying. I understand if it's something one can't get over. Like, if a tall woman, sometimes she just can't get over the guy being shorter. He might have everything on paper and is the sweetest, kindest guy, but it's just something she just can't get over. So we talk about what things we can get over and what things we can't get over. And yeah, that's just one struggle that I have with because all of my female clients are boss babes. They're powerful and sexy and beautiful. Also, I have what's called the poker theory on my women here too. And that a lot, like if you are a self-described plain woman and someone says, I love you, you're like, all right, check please. We're good. I got one. Yes, let's do this. Whereas a lot of these very attractive, powerful women, they get a poker hand and they're like, I think I'm going to hold out for a better hand. I think I can get a better hand. And then they muck it. And then as the years go by, not only do they not get a better hand, but the pool that they used to be in changes. 29-year-old Ukrainian single woman to 45-year-old never married, never divorced Ukrainian woman are in two different categories. Not either of them good or bad, just different categories.
And American ladies, are they different? Are they ready, as you have called it, to date down or to marry down? Are they more flexible?
No, this is definitely something I struggle across the board with a lot of my women. I just find it stronger in the Ukraine, and specifically in Ukrainian. We can talk about other cultures as well too, but It is something that is very, so 1982 was the last year that more men graduated college in the US than women. And the divide has been getting steeper and steeper every year. When you kill advanced degrees, it's even steeper. And when you're talking about people of color, it's even steeper. So there's just some statistics that exist in that the numbers aren't the same as they used to be. So one would think that one needs to adapt one's own viewpoint. And there's definitely, my wife makes more than me, you know, and I know lots of guys in my area and that their wives make more than them too, because we're in New York City and this is where powerful people with large jobs are. But it is something also, because it's not just the woman, it's the guy, because in theory, he's like, yeah, that sounds great. You know, woman to buy my stuff and, you know, she makes more than me. And then the man starts to feel emasculated or purposeless or less than. And that's only in the man's mind that he's stirring in as well. And we as a society haven't learned yet how the woman best can deal emotionally with the man struggling with these problems, and a man struggling with these problems can help a woman struggling with these problems. Because the woman that is at the A game boss level is going to be struggling with things. Guys typically aren't as emotionally adept at understanding the needs. So there's not getting that. And sometimes the woman at this game doesn't need a CEO, because then again, you're getting into the narcissistic, sociopathic behaviors, whereas maybe what she would need would be a high school principal that is beloved by his kids, you know, and it's a good mix. It's not a same. You know, one thing I've learned in dating and relationships is fair doesn't have to mean equal. You know, things don't have to be this. They can be anything you want as long as you consider it fair. So figuring out what is fair and what, if I don't have this, what else do I get out of it? I mean, I think that's a discussion we've had as long as humans have existed.
Okay, my next question would be, you have mentioned that you work with so-called boss babies. So what is the attitude of a really affluent, beautiful, successful lady if she is asked on the date and the gentleman asked to split the bill? Your female clients, how do they feel about it? Do they feel offended? Because you probably know it, you have worked with Ukrainian ladies, she would be mortified. Even
oh
if they were having coffee.
It's and this is where the men are struggling, because the rules change often and you have to be nimble to kind of understand or pick up the body language, you know, of two different types of women. You know, I'm over exaggerating, but walk in and you see one woman that's dressed all in pink with a cute little fluffy dog, and another woman that's in black leather boots and a mohawk. Which of those two are probably going to be more appreciative for you to open the door for them? There's probably a choice there. But these are two real extreme examples. They're not, it's usually not that way. So in the US previously, let's say 70s, 80s, man takes a woman out, takes her to a fancy restaurant in order to impress her, picks up the bill to showcase what a good provider he is. And now there's a certain power imbalance that the woman was usually fixed by sexual behavior. You know, like, oh, we did all this now. You know, and it's not always this IOU and transactional, but it's like, oh, he's taken me out like 4 times at 4 really different expensive restaurants. I guess I got to have sex with him now. So there can be that transactional feel in it. And now
in Ukraine,
as
it's
women
called
are
courting. It's called courting. In Ukraine, it's called courting a lady, and that's the important part of dating.
It is here too. But what courting is changes now, or what the rules are keeps shifting, because right now a lot of women don't want to feel beholden to men in any sort of a way. Mm-hmm. They want to have an equal partner that they don't feel they're in any sort of debt to. So it's one can, he'll get the bill this time and then you get the bill the next time. And, again, it doesn't have to be 50-50. It, 75-25. I don't mind picking up the bill most of the time because I like to do that. What I don't like is someone that expects it and thinks they deserve it.
So Hunt, you encourage your female
in,
clients to split the bill or to suggest to cover the bill on the second or third date?
I let the man lead on the first one. I think the man should pick up the first date bill. I think it's just a nice gesture, like bringing flowers. It's just a nice thing to do.
By the way, do you encourage your male clients to bring flowers on the first date, or it is not necessary?
No, because they don't know how to do it. You show up with a big thing of carnations and just be like, the woman would be like, "What are you doing?" What was the question beforehand? I forgot what you said. Asked.
I was asking you about gentlemen approaching ladies and ladies trying to be more approachable.
But so basically, what I was going to what I tell my female clients is, allow him to pick up the bill. If you don't want to feel beholden, offer to buy dessert or the next round of drinks, so that it shows thank you, I appreciate, because that's it. It's appreciation and respect. Many times a man feels if he's just being taken advantage of as a meal ticket, that he is not being respected. That is how a man could view a woman that never picks up the bill.
In Ukraine, if the lady suggests to buy drinks or to split the bill, the gentleman will get the signal that she doesn't like him and she actually wants to put him down and to show the male waiter, people around, that he's not masculine enough and she's not going out with him again. So it's quite different. So how do you teach ladies to be more approachable? Yes. You want to find these peculiarities.
Well, I mean, as you know, men and women in general, in any country, like they're trying to do what they think is right, and the other sex is going like, you're an idiot, so we're all trying to figure it out. So just adding that extra international flavor can be interesting.
I had a male client, and right now he's dating a Ukrainian girl, and his parents are originally from Ukraine. But he was born and raised in the US. So you can't call him like 100% Ukrainian or American. And he was telling that his ex-girlfriend, when he has brought her to introduce to his parents, and they're Ukrainian Jews, like she didn't take her shoes off and she didn't bring flowers or wine. So his family, they didn't like her. And it's a cultural thing. So I was telling him, but why didn't you help her out? Why didn't you tell her what is expected? And he tried to date American women, but he said that, I have to think all the time that traditions are different. I have to think all the time that culture is different. So I have decided that I will just date Ukrainian, someone who understands this, that I don't have to explain all this. So he has chosen the easy way, or the way that has suited him most. And we have many clients.
The path of least conflict.
Yes, and it feels more natural. You don't have to explain things all the time. But some people who choose international dating, they actually like it, that you can teach each other different traditions.
That's the fun of it, absolutely. Learning how to swear in each other's languages.
Oh, yes. I don't know why people usually teach each other first all the nasty words and then all the nice words. It is important to tell that it is
a nasty point word. In my time, when I was traveling around Europe, I think there was a time that I could say, I love you, and ask for beer in 7 different languages. Because I was really firmly convinced those were the only 2 phrases I needed if I just found myself in another country.
So before I forget, how do you teach ladies to be more approachable?
Right. So because there is this tradition of women wanting to have more power and be more equal, there becomes the other side of it, is that it becomes the men don't know what the gender roles or the prescribed duties or actions should be anymore. So it's a little bit more of a, for us, Wild West, as you call it, like just unsure of anything. This is where like understanding body language and tonality, and you can look and you can figure these things out if you are aware of these things, but most people are not. So you may, there may be a table of ladies going.
Eye contact.
You know, exactly. Doing, you know, a fairly okay thing of come visit me. But one,
Playing with
men
the
can be
hair.
totally flipping around. Exactly.
Mhm.
But one, men can be dense. Two, maybe he's just tired and doesn't want to run the risk of getting rejected. Or, you know, maybe the woman is just, she had a great day and she wants someone to share it with. And she just does not want to wait for someone to come see her. She wants to go find someone and just jump in and have some fun. So ways to be approachable are make sure they know you exist is the easiest thing. So find a way to walk past them. You know, oh, I like your shirt. You know, as they walk by to the bathroom, like, whoa, what just what just happened? She touched me and she complimented me. Huh. Basically, this is just opening the door. What this is trying to do is show that you will not be rejected if you come up and talk to me. Now, listen, women here can, and it has happened to me, just choose a dude for the night. I've just been there and just been talking to a friend, literally been talking to a friend. I just got there, and all of a sudden I feel this, like on my hand, and I look down, and there's a woman, very pretty woman, just holding my hand and smiling at me. I'm like,
And she's
well,
not a
okay,
hooker.
but that was
So
really boring.
she's not a professional lady, let's call it, like a prostitute. So just a lady
Nope,
who wants to
nope.
find a date for the night.
Just a lady who, just a lady who wants some D for the night, and that's totally fine. It was just funny that sometimes you get chosen, and your job is just not mess it up. Because what you want to try to do is, oh, she chose me because I'm cool, and then you try to act more cool, and then you look like a fool, and then she's just like, I made the wrong choice, and then leaves. But so women can automatically have the ability to go out, grab themselves a guy, and take a one night stand home. That's fine. When it comes to the dating purposes, more so, you want to you still want to make the guy work a little bit for it. What I say is that the Trojan War was fought over a woman. If a man wants a woman, he'll move a mountain. But he needs to know that the woman wants him, or is at least the door is open. So one of the things I tell my clients, if you're talking in a group of people, sometimes, hey, Svetlana, I enjoyed talking to you. I'm going to go back and talk with my friends there, but I'd like it if you came back and found me later. So, all of a sudden the person knows that the door is open over there, but that person now has to go walk through that door and go expend some energy to go do it so the woman can see whether or not the man is willing to spend energy on her. Because we definitely want to do that. Men are notoriously lazy and we'll just do the least amount of work that we can do. It is the job of the woman to let him know where that line is, that you have to still work for me. Other things too, guys aren't necessarily as great conversationalists as women. So sometimes help us through that. Ask us more open-ended questions or share a story with you so that we're not sitting there in awkward silence trying to figure out what to say next. It just means that both sides have to put in a little bit of work for it. And if neither side does anything, nothing's going to happen about it. I mean, being approachable too, like the what one would think would be the normal things look good, right? Look put together. If just put together, I love looking great, but just like put together. I ran a speed dating event for I think men and women in their 40s, and one woman came there and she just looked like she just came off the couch, like in sweatpants and no makeup, and afterwards she was saying like I was disappointed that I didn't get any matches, and I was trying to be PC, and it's like, well, I know a lot of men are visual creatures, and maybe if you like, now it's just because I've got red hair. Excuse me, what? Like, yeah, I got red hair. Some guys either they like it or they don't, so there's nothing I can do about it. And then you just realize, what? I'm not going to get anywhere with this conversation. So, but again, guys show up in dirty, wrinkled shirts, and or after the gym. So, when you ask, what do they need to do? We're hoping that there's at least a foundational set of knowledge that they're building on, like shower, brush your teeth. But, the longer we get into this, we realize sometimes we have to tell them everything.
We have started this conversation with you the last time, and I was telling you that in Ukraine it's quite common for a lady, for example, to have lunch, not even to sit in the nightclub, lunch in the lunch place, and then when, for example,
I heard
she's
that.
asking for the bill, yes, the waiter just tells you that that gentleman over there has paid for your lunch, and you understand that now he will approach and start talking to you, start asking for your phone number. There is a lunch place not far from my office, and I love working there with my computer. And so often I see similar scenario, and the area is surrounded with many office buildings, so it's like office center. So there are like 5 friends at the table, and all females. Probably they went from an office somewhere next to that lunch place, probably IT company. Beautiful ladies in their middle 30s, I would tell, and out of a sudden they receive desserts to their table, and the waiter tell that their bill was covered, and they start guessing among themselves who caught his attention, like you or you or you, Irina, Natalia, Tatiana, and then the gentleman approach, and he looks at one lady, he paid for all the girls, and he looks at one of the ladies and he said that you are so beautiful, can I please ask you out for dinner later tonight, or like maybe on Friday night? And she gives him her phone number, which means yes. And of course, all other tables, everybody is like, ooh, that's so sweet. So that's quite common in Ukraine, even though there is this cliche that Ukrainian men are not good Ukrainian men. They are very traditional and they are very masculine. They are good for ladies who can appreciate that very masculine men, very dominant. So it's quite common in Ukraine. Is it common in, I can say not common, can a scenario like that appear in New York? Or would it be like trespassing?
Not really, but let me help explain as well too. So for instance, dating at its core is understanding the values of your own culture and trying to showcase them. Do you agree with that at least? So in the Ukraine, where say having a good job or being able to support a woman is looked at with a large amount of value, that is a way that men can help demonstrate that. Look at this, I can pick up the whole lunch for these ladies because they know that's a value system. In New York specifically, not so much, because the women here make just as much as the guys do. So it would come across as, well, first it would come across as, do you have the phrase douchebag? It would come across as someone trying to look cooler than they are. Someone is trying to overcompensate, someone that can't meet anybody else. The only way they can meet someone is to buy them and flaunt wealth. Crass, more so. I mean, if it's done in a good spirit of things, there's, it'd be more a group of guys at a table and a group of girls at a table. The group of guys mate send stuff to them because then it's the whole group. Then it's like they can all do this mixing thing. One guy would not do it for one girl. In the U.S., is a funny example of this. We had a host brother from Chile, an exchange student that stayed with us from Chile, came to visit New York, and my brothers met with him up here. We were all over 21 at this point. He was just back visiting, and in Chile and South America and Latin America, when they dance. It's salsa, merengue, they all have names and steps and beats, and we're at the disco in New York, and it's just kind of more along the lines of like this. And he was just laughing. He's like, "You guys can't even dance." We were like, "You want to see how we get girls?" So me and my 2 brothers started doing like the shopping cart dance and like the lawnmower and like the jump rope, like this. And all of a sudden girls just came over to us, and just out of nowhere, because what we were showcasing is playfulness, ability to laugh at oneself, not try to be too cool, and have friends that give you enough social proof that are with you that you can tell you like each other a lot. So that was a prime example. Like, he was like, "You guys weren't even dancing." I'm like, "I know, because that's what we know demonstrates the values of us. A nice thing to do would be send a round of drinks, like an aperitif or something like that. That is saying, I'm interested, but I'm not trying to buy your interest.
That's common as well. I was just thinking, you have mentioned that buying the whole lunch is showing that I earn more. No, it's not the same, because we don't know, maybe these ladies, they can be from the law company nearby. They all can be lawyers, or they all can be managers in a certain company, in an IT company, for example. Maybe they earn more. It's about courting. So he sent the signal that I like you and I want to court you. And if she doesn't like the guy, she declines. If she wants to be rude, she does not accept the drinks, or she does not accept the meal and say that I pay my own bill. Then she will put him down in front of the whole restaurant. So if she considers to go out with him, then she lets him do it.
How often would you say, do the men that do this, are they usually self-aware? Are they interesting and attractive individuals, or is it a lot of like hairy vultures that do it and try and do it as well too?
It's quite common. I would say I have just noted that in Ukraine, it's quite common to see the lady with the basket who is selling roses. Very common. And they are really crazy overpriced, but also like she stands with those roses, and the majority of guys, they will buy roses for their dates. And usually when I'm out with my husband, I tell him that, no, I don't want this one long rose, because we need to do this or do that after the date. So I try to talk him out of this, which is not right. Girls don't do like I do. If the man wants to buy you flowers, the dating coach is me is telling that you have to accept and you have to be grateful, because that's his way to show that you're special to him.
Yeah, but after the first 100 times, you can be like, okay, honey, thank you. I get it.
It's still special. It's still special. You know, so often there is a flower boutique that I really love in Kharkov, and usually we take all our clients there to choose flowers. And since it's not that popular to buy flowers, let's say in China for the date, or in the United States, so we have to explain, for example, in Turkey, it's also not common, why flowers are important for the first date. And I try to make all my clients, yes, choose all the flowers for the bucket, because if the gentleman has invested time, then it's not just the bucket of roses or daisies or lilies. It's something he has invested time into. So now he will care if the lady will like it. So I remember I was going there with a client for his lunch date, then with the other client for his dinner date, choosing flowers. And then in the flower shop, they tell me that, oh, Svetlana, we have flowers for you. And like, for me, no, I haven't booked for any other client. And she's like, no, that's for your husband. He knew that you would be here. And all the ladies in the flower shop, they're like, oh, that's so sweet. And my client tells me, oh, wow, that's such a nice reaction. I will totally do that if I get married. Like, that's so sweet. Because flowers, it means emotion. That's emotion. If you want to,
that's it. Demonstrate its emotion. Whatever it is that you do that can help create that emotion. You want to show that you're thinking about the person. You want to show that you're willing to work for the person. You want them to earn the person. How we showcase that, that's all the fun, different stuff.
So my very important question would be, what is the perfect type of women in New York that all men want to date? I would say men 35 till 50.
In New York, I would say that it is a leather boot wearing, leather jacket, tall brunette woman that works maybe in the fashion industry, but high up, like you know, where she'd be cracking the whip. Wouldn't be in financial, could be in financial, architecture. Brass balls will shit talk you, and shoot pool with you. Take some whiskey with you.
Can she be divorced, or she has to be never married?
Dude, I always loved the divorced women when I was younger, because there was a new lease on life. new joie de vivre. They wanted to try everything, experience everything. They felt free and excited. So yeah, it was a wonderful energy to have. So we like our women to be a little aggressive, a little have an edge to them, be able to survive on their own, you know, in the wilds. Don't and this is where it becomes difficult, the dating in New York, because same with me. I love kick-ass, strong, powerful brunettes in The Mandalorian, in My Wife,
You're married to one.
you know, in and everything. So I like very strong women. I'm attracted to them, but you have to understand what you're bringing to the relationship, because a lot of men will see these strong women and not know what they can offer, not know, well, how could I live up to something that she wants? Meanwhile, all she wants is someone to cuddle with her and watch Netflix. But we don't know that because we're not communicating effectively between each other. But yeah, we definitely like in New York City, the whiskey shooting woman is just fine.
And how about the age gaps? I'm sure pretty often guys approach you. We have similar scenario here. He's, let's say, 50, 55, and he wants to date someone in her 20s, early 30s top. Is it realistic in New York? What type of a person he can attract?
It's only realistic because there's 12 million people here. And statistically speaking, there'll be someone, you know, in a driving distance that feels that way. That many, I mean, it's not really realistic anywhere you go, really, because the levels mentally that you're at, the power imbalance, the foundational of your own cultural society is different. If you're both okay with what each is offering, more power to you. I have no problem with sugar babies and, you know, things like that. That's fine. Everyone's an adult, knock yourself out.
So you see it like a sugar baby, a sugar daddy scenario. Yes, she's a sugar babe, he's her sugar daddy. He is more well-off than she is, so only this scenario.
I mean, it's New York and it's fashion, so you definitely see some couples that, you know, he's the big daddy and she's the sugar mama. I remember one time being out at a fashion party. I used to be a fashion editor for a magazine, so I did a lot of fashion stuff. I was asking her what she did, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a muse." I'm like, excuse me? She's like, "I'm a muse." Like, for who? She's like, "Oh, the artist." I'm like, okay.
She is honest.
Yeah, you know, it exists 100%, but it's not really the dating world right now in New York. Primarily, no one is getting married under 30, or is ever encouraged to get married under 30. People start getting married in their 20s in New York. People are saying, why would you do that? One, because there's so much opportunities of anything here. Two, you can't just afford to buy a house here and have kids here, so it involves larger decisions. And there's a lot of fun to be had. We're living longer, more things to do. So, you know, in the 20th century, two new life stages were created: the teenager and retirement. Because in the 1800s, there's no teenager. You just go straight into the factory, and there's no retirement because you just work until you die. So as medicine got better and the lives were longer, the teenager and the retirement came in. The average child born today will live to be about 100 years old. So that means new life stages are existing and people that are already alive that we don't know what to name them yet. For instance, like if we're, you know, will we have one relationship that lasts a long time? Will we have the starter marriage, which is from when your relationship from 25 to 40, and then you have your mature relationship from 40 to 90. So, you know, maybe the 20s, you know, the post-college to 30 will be considered a different life stage, where it is not necessarily about the future, it's about the now. And then at 30, you start to worry about the future. I don't know. It's a thought. I'm curious as to see how relationships are going to fare.
Okay, I have many questions to you, but I will ask the last one because I don't want to make it like very long. And
I know our last one was 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's great because we like to talk.
We'll see
but
if
yeah,
there will be many questions below this video. Maybe we will do another one. So if
we
you
do
have
it again.
questions, feel free them below the video. Can you
Yeah, you
tell
have
me?
some of your ladies send in some questions.
Can you tell me about the ladies in New York? Do they want to date younger men? Do they want to date someone their age? Do they want to date men who are a bit older? Let's talk
It
about
depends
the
on the
age
life
and
stage
relationship.
you're in. I would say that in the early
If the lady,
20s, there's
she's
something.
35 to 40. Let's speak
Oh,
35 to
she's
40.
35 to 40, so it goes in two directions right now. 35 to 40s is harder to find someone of the same age, because a 35-year-old guy, if he's ready to settle down and he wants to have kids, is probably looking high 20s, you know, realistically speaking. And
what are
people
his
that are
chances?
65, they want the younger women that are like 40. But the 35 to 40-year-old women are really big with the 20-year-old men, but not necessarily for lifetime relationships. So these women have choices of being cougars and having an endless supply of beautiful boys ready to play with, or the people above them, which in their own words are old and stale. And now, so of course, it exists. I'm just saying it is traditionally the hardest age to find a like-minded individual. Well, let me say a like-minded single individual. Now with divorces coming back out and you're going for round 2, yes, you can definitely find some normal people in that age range, because then you're looking for people around the same age that may have around the same age kids or have been through similar life experiences.
That's interesting. Thank you for this interview. I have a bigger list of questions. I have just covered a few.
We'll do it again.
We like to talk. It would be nice to get some feedback from our subscribers. I will leave the link how to find Hunt's channel. And if you have any questions to me or to Hunt, leave them below this video. I know how to redirect them to Hunt. I hope that people will enjoy watching this interview as much as we have enjoyed filming it.
Same. Thanks for having me.
Have a wonderful week, and I hope we will do something interesting again soon, and good luck with your new project.
I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt of that.
Bye.